Good evening and welcome to Best Listener Ever. I'm your host for this channel. I'm a 68-year-old black man coming to you live from deep in the heart of Texas, the Gotham City of the South. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Please being sure to tap on that notification bell so you can get notifications of when we are going on the air live. Now, all the presentations here will be live. Some of them will be shorter than others, but that's the plan. This is a talk show. It's not billed as anything other than a talk show. The goals and aspirations of this channel are different from others. We're not here to lead anybody. We're not here to guide anybody. We're not here to advise anybody. We're not here to influence anybody. We don't take sides in the so-called YouTube streets. We don't play in the street. The topic we have chosen to end our lengthy lives today is the difference between an alcoholic and a drunkard. Be very careful in operationalizing those terms. The difference between an alcoholic and a drunkard. Now, for those of you who don't drink at all, don't start. You're not missing anything. I always tell people that. Young people, older people that have never wanted to drink or don't drink, assure them you're not missing anything if you don't drink. Alcoholism itself is an illness. It is nothing to joke about. It is nothing to laugh about. There's nothing light about it. If you are an alcoholic or know an alcoholic or have been around alcoholics, you know there is absolutely nothing funny about being an alcoholic. That's not my purpose in comparing the two. I have alcoholism in my family on both sides, my mother's side and my father's side. And it's not a good thing to be with or to be an alcoholic, a person who is an alcoholic, male or female, young or old. And there are young alcoholics, unfortunately. When I differentiate between an alcoholic and a drunkard, I place myself in the category of a drunkard. Now, a drunkard is different from a drunk, a person who is habitually drunk. That's a little different than a drunkard. To my mind, and this is my opinion only, a drunkard is an individual who likes to drink, doesn't have to drink, but will drink to the point of inebriation under certain circumstances. And that's kind of where I am with it now. At this stage, and today being May the 16th, 2022, I am drinking less than I drank a year ago this time for one reason or another. And I'll tell you this, and you can take this to the bank and redeem it for gold. I am drinking less since I started doing live presentations on YouTube than I did before I started doing live presentations. There's a certain amount of discipline that is required to do live presentations 2 or 3 times a day, even in the late afternoon and early evening. It's hard to describe, but it's just something that I'm noting. I regard myself as a drunkard, basically, because of a line from an old movie. Some of you may be familiar with it. And they asked, the movie is Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, Paul Henry, Claude Rains, Peter Lorre. You're familiar with the movie. And someone asked the Humphrey Bogart character what his profession was. And he answered very glibly, "I'm a drunkard." And that kind of rang home with me. Uh, and it stuck with me all these years. Uh, Drinking has led me to understand what is meant by the phrase, God takes care of babies and fools. God takes care of babies and fools. As recently in my mind, ancient history to many of you, as 20 to 25 years ago, I would go out after work, especially on Fridays, after work, coming up on the weekend. And I would get off work at 5 p.m. and I would go to my favorite place to hang out. And on Fridays, you understand, I would wear a shirt and tie and usually a suit. If I wore a sport coat, I had a tie on because this was before the open collar became more acceptable. I wore a shirt and tie and either a suit or a sport coat because in many establishments, in my case, the state system, they allowed you to dress casually on Fridays. You could wear jeans. In those days, you could even wear athletic shoes. But because everyone else was allowed to dress down, I, because of my character, decided that I would wear a shirt and tie and suit. I know it's very odd, but you'd have to know more about me to understand. So when I got off work on Fridays, I would get in the car and I would drive to the watering hole. I thought about naming it, but I don't want to embarrass anybody, although the place has been closed for years. And it was a hole in the wall. And I don't know how many of you are even aware of what a hole in the wall is or what a hole in the wall signifies. But this was the holiest hole in the wall that anyone could ever imagine. I loved it. The thing I loved about it most was you could be yourself, and everyone there was themselves. I never was comfortable in an establishment where people tried to be something that they were not. So that was my place. That was my hangout. That was my place. And I would stop off at the hole in the wall, and I would usually have two Long Island iced teas. I don't even really know what they were made with, but I liked the taste. I liked the flavor. It was a somewhat sweet drink, but I just got in the habit of drinking Long Island iced tea. And I would have at least two and a light beer along with them. So I downed these two Long Island iced teas and a light beer. And I would get in the car and drive home and take off the shirt and tie and suit or sport coat, whatever the case might be, take a shower and change clothes into casual clothes. Jeans, a comfortable shirt, casual shoes or athletic shoes, whatever I want. And I would go back to the club and I would drink more Long Island iced teas, no less than two. And I would have another light beer, at least one, typically more. I never drank and do not drink to get drunk. I learned at a very earlier age that being drunk was not my cup of tea. And if I drank too much, I would not drive. And if I drank too much, I would probably throw up. And for me, that is a very uncomfortable feeling. So I would drink just enough to be comfortable, have a good time, laugh and talk with everybody. And I would, once again, get ready to go home. But typically, I would stop off and get something to eat. It would either be a hamburger from a fast food establishment, which I won't name, of course, but more often than not, I would go to it was a barbecue restaurant in what was then East Gotham City of the South. I almost said the name. But I'd go there and I'd buy barbecue. And very often the person running the cash register was the person serving the barbecue. And he'd, ring up a sale and I'd be in line and he'd take my order and immediately come away from the cash register and reach into the counter for barbecue. Naturally, he'd wipe his hands with a towel that he had been using all evening. And he'd serve up the barbecue, wrap it up, and then usually use the towel again to wrap it, wipe his hands to, I guess, not get grease on the cash register. I don't think it did much good. But he'd ring up the order and I'd go home and eat. That was it. That was my evening. The reason I don't consider myself an alcoholic is because I don't need to drink. As I sit here right now, I haven't had beer or liquor in over a week. I'm comfortable. You can see my hand is steady. Let me hold it up here for you to see. My hand is pretty much steady. That's my arm moving, not my fingers. Otherwise, I'd be like this. An alcoholic, on the other hand, must drink every day, typically all day. And if they don't have their alcohol, they withdraw. And it's as some of you probably know, it's not pretty. And it's not to be looked down upon by anybody, not me, not you, nor anybody else. I want to make that perfectly clear. Remember to like the channel. Remember to share the channel. Remember to subscribe to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. I had to ask myself at one point, though, if a person who drinks every day, which I've heard said, if a person that drinks every day, no matter how little, is an alcoholic, depending on your definition of what an alcoholic is. And to test that, because I typically had something to drink every day, no matter how little it was, I had to test that. So when this notion of an alcohol-free month came around, I had to try it, which I've done for the last 2 to 3 years. And usually I pick February, that being the shortest month of the year. And for that month, I do not have alcoholic beverages, just to see if I can do it, if I can manage it. And therefore, I don't consider myself an alcoholic. Now, if anybody has a different idea or opinion, we can talk it. We could bounce it back and forth, just like anything else. But I've described what I think I am as a drunkard, as opposed to what I understand an alcoholic is. And I believe I fall into the former category and not the latter. I was joking with a cashier in one of the liquor emporiums here in Gotham City of the South. And I had been without alcohol for about a week at that time. And I sort of quipped that uh, I had to come in today before they revoke my status as a drunkard. And the lady told me, she says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll grandfather you in." I thought that was funny and very nice of her. I think she understood. There's no telling how many times she had told that joke, though. But that is my examination, my opinion only, of the difference between an alcoholic, which is a person who has an illness, even after they stop drinking. I wish congratulations to anyone who has stopped drinking, because it is a one day at a time experience. And you are to be congratulated and encouraged in your abstinence from alcohol. And I wish you the best, the very best. I can't say anything to anybody that might consider themselves a drunkard, because we are a very elite and privileged class of people who drink. So if you happen to meet that status, I salute you. If you don't and don't know the difference, you probably don't know enough about drinking to tell the difference. Remember to like, remember to share, remember to subscribe to the channel, clicking on the notification button, please. In the meantime, don't let anybody make a monkey out of you. Don't make a monkey out of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Watch everything and everybody wherever you go. Be safe. Until we meet again, peace. Always peace. We'll probably do a couple more lives before the evening ends, but that remains to be seen, doesn't it?